Hi everyone, Jenna here, and I've really enjoyed making these videos for you. Leaky gut is so extensive and it hits so many parts of the body that everything is really interconnected. So it's really been a blessing for me to be able to share all of my wisdom with you and things that I've learned and how I practice within my practice. And so I really hope that you're enjoying them and they're beneficial to you. So this video itself is going to be how leaky gut affects your nervous system. So we're going to talk about your autonomic nervous system, and that breaks down into two systems: your sympathetic nervous system and your parasympathetic nervous system. And so they kind of regulate themselves like a yin and yang. Your sympathetic nervous system is really for your fight or flight, and is going to give more of the physiological appearances and manifestations of like tight, clenching, high pitch, constipation. It is that I gotta go now kind of situation for that fight or flight. You know, really just think about, how do you feel when you're stressed? Do you clench your jaw? Does your blood pressure go up? Or what happens to you? And for everyone, this can be different. And this is when the body is more in that stress state. Your cortisol has risen, your body is pumping different hormones and different neurotransmitters saying we gotta act fast and we gotta do something. And so this is keeping your sympathetic nervous system stimulated. And so I've just kind of talked about some external stressors that I'm sure all of you can relate to, that probably came into your head at first. And it relates into leaky gut from the particles being leaked into your bloodstream that cause a inflammatory response, an immune response, which is a stress to the body. Okay, so really the body doesn't know the difference between external stress and an internal stress. The body handles stress in the same way. Cortisol goes up, and everything is a trigger. And so it's going to trigger the next mechanisms for, depending on what kind of stress it is, to continue to heal itself, fix itself, create a homeostasis within the body. That is the goal of the body always. And so, especially if leaky gut has gone on for years, you have lived in this sympathetic nervous system being stimulated quite often of the time. The opposite of the sympathetic nervous system is your parasystemic nervous system. And this is known for like the rest and digest is kind of what it's called, and the relaxing, the deep the digestion, for saliva, for sexual arousal, for bowel movements, for the body to heal, for sleep, for the body to relax. So your parasystemic nervous system is really where you want the body to be living, the part of the autonomic nervous system that you want stimulated 90% of the time. You only want the sympathetic nervous system stimulated when it's beneficial, which it is there for a reason, and it is very beneficial when that fight or flight takes place, when we need to act quickly, when we need that extra boost of cortisol and adrenaline to get where we gotta go, or whatever we're doing at that time that's causing that type of stress to stimulate that, or for the immune system act really readily to help protect the body. But that's really not how it goes when you have leaky gut and it is a constant battle. And so the parasystemic nervous system will have to be consciously activated by you. And I want to remind you that the entire body is a cycle. So just as compromised GI can elect these stress responses within the body that can stimulate the autonomic nervous system, it can go the opposite way too. There are tips and tricks that Body Hackers has quite a few of them, bodyhackers.com, of how to stimulate your parasystemic nervous system. And some of those are the deep ohms, the deep breathing, the exercising, some I'm not going to name, but you can physically reprogram that system and to start having that system overlap and take away from the sympathetic nervous system. The system cannot work on both at the same time. It's only going to pick one. So it's either going to be working on the sympathetic nervous system or the parasympathetic nervous system. It will not work on both. As kind of a side note, I started off with weight loss, and when after I learned about leaky gut and I started doing a lot of GI repairs, I really started noticing this stress response in itself, and would go back and with my tricky weight loss patients teach them these tricks and take out maybe nightshades or another particle or protein or enzyme that I thought was electing a stress response within their body from a leaky gut situation, and they would start losing 3-4 pounds a week. And it is that holding on, that sympathetic nervous system of always being stimulated, that cortisol of always being high, that the body wants to store. And by removing the stressors and to stimulate your parasympathetic nervous system for that releasing and that relaxing and that repairing is night and day for the entire body, including for those who are having very difficulties losing weight for that tricky weight loss. And that can definitely be a factor into leaky gut also. So the body is a cycle, and we know there are different methods that I had talked about to stimulate your parasystemic nervous system. But I want to mention to you, when the body is constantly in a sympathetic nervous system reaction, that fight or flight, it creates more of an acidic environment within the body. An acidic environment is also the developmental breeding grounds for more of your pathogenic bacteria to take place. And so what I'm saying here is you have your microbiome, and that I do go down into detail in a very different video, because I do mention the microbiome a lot. But you have your microbiome, and that houses everything, but especially your microbacteria. And the microbacteria creates your immune system, your brain neurons, breaks down food, creates proteins, creates vitamins, and much, 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 much more. You also have what are commensal, but when compromised or given the right environment, can turn pathogenic. So Candida is one. It can be great in small doses, even add benefit to the body, but once it gets out of line and it becomes more of a pathogenic, it'll take over. And one of the ways it can do that, I will go a whole nother video on this, but is the environment. They are living organisms, so the environment is huge. Just like we cannot live on Mars, the environment is huge for where we live. So keeping the body in a stress state with your sympathetic nervous system stimulated is creating a acidic environment within the GI that not only helps the more pathogenic bacterium flourish, but also makes it unlivable for some of the very beneficial bacteria that we need. And so we're talking about the nervous system, we need our neurotransmitters. And your GI is 90% of your neurotransmitters. And so there's a direct connect on what is going on between your gut and your nervous system. And I'm sure you've heard, the gut feelings, or the gut as your second brain. And that's exactly from that. The vagus nerve that runs up right behind your spinal cord, that connects your gut with your brain, is always constantly sending signals back and forth, reading each other, the neurotransmitters, and having a direct line of contact and connect and communication at all times. And so you need them both to be healthy to relay messages and signals appropriately, and to internalize them appropriately, to react on them appropriately. When you have a leaky gut situation, the body is not just compromised, but it is stressed. You're not getting the neurotransmitters needed to do so. You are not getting the proper vitamins and minerals and nutrients even to repair or to keep up with the demand that is going on with the stress state of the body. And this is a vicious cycle. So not just brain fog coming out of this, but migraines or OCD, anxiety, depression, all of those are all interrelated. So please let me know what you think, and if you have any other questions. I know this goes pretty in depth, but I try to keep it as layman as possible, because the goal is for you to understand, have more of an understanding than what is out there of what is leaky gut. Thank you, everyone. I am so excited to share with you all of my tips and tricks and insights when it comes to leaky gut. So please subscribe and join our Freedom from Leaky Gut Facebook group to learn more.